You know what? There was something there with that guy. If only. Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now, if you're familiar with this channel, then you might know that I am one for pretty outlandish ideas whilst trying to keep some semblance of normality going to proceedings. However, there is one thing that I think we can all agree upon, that one example of normality within Dragon Ball is that Goku requires strong guys to fight and keep on challenging himself. Up until the likes of Broly and Jiren came along, Beerus was pretty worried that Goku's rapid progress might slow down without the need of a challenger, which is a pretty valid concern to be fair. And so we got the likes of Monaka being called up, almost likely told, to give Goku some kind of fantastical yardstick for the sake of keeping things very Dragon Ball-like. That is, just making him one walking and talking gag. When I first saw Monaka in the anime, he was a pretty unusual procedure, but actually a pleasantly surprising one in a way. It was quite a good idea. At the time. It did do two things that showed two of the strongest characters in the series to actually be quite simple, or at least very assuming. First, and most obviously, Goku would take anything that Beerus said at face value. The fact that his new master or teacher by proxy that he just met could just tell him that, oh, this guy is strong, and this strong Saiyan will just swallow that drivel, is pretty telling for the likes of Goku, and in a way sort of illustrates the weird and inconsistent handling of Goku's character and personality within Dragon Ball Super. It wasn't exactly one of the best moments in his life we know of. He didn't sense any energy from Monaka, but whatever Beerus told him was okay. The second thing to take on board with that is that Beerus has so little understanding of what makes Goku tick. He thinks that Goku's gonna get bored or demoralized that easily? Goku has fought you, Beerus. He will want to fight you again, and again, and again, until he wins against you. You don't need to resort to this charade because you've already convinced him to follow along and keep morale up by just being there. At the same time, it also shows that Beerus is proud and stubborn, that he's willing to use up one of his universe's important slots for the Universe 6 tournament just to prove a point. He could have achieved his goal by saying that he has brought someone strong to observe, but he couldn't take part due to a massive stomachache. A nice little allusion to Hercule's trademark nature. And Goku would take this instantly at face value and say something like, oh right, Hercule gets those a lot. Oh, I feel for you, buddy. Oh well. Either way, Monaka's place in the story for that arc was useful in the end, and it did save Universe 7's Earth from being transported to Champa's turf, and most likely be just squeezed dry for food and nothing else. That being said, he was very lucky also that Hit wasn't in the mood to take things seriously after his invigorating fight with Goku earlier. It gave Monaka the win, inadvertently, and therefore, he was credited as the being that saved Universe 7 from losing its only thing that could satiate Beerus, as well as doing what the deity loves to do the most, annoy his brother. He got well paid for it, and apart from other cameo experiences, that was pretty much it for him. I mean, oh yeah, okay, in the Copy Vegeta arc he did step on the main core that then stopped Copy Vegeta, or what I like to call Jolita, in his tracks, and gave our gang the win in an otherwise messy mini-arc with a little too much Super Saiyan 3 Gotenks for my liking. Seriously, I don't remember him being that annoying in the original Z run. That instance told us that Monaka's purpose in the series was to beat that guy who just bumbled along and accidentally saves the day for our heroes where it might seem impossible. Okay, fair enough, but you could only do that one more time before it becomes too convenient, and you then turn Monaka from just simply being a very lucky character into just being a tool, a MacGuffin. When in doubt, just have him turn up and say, for example, when Moro is controlling the universe, he's terribly allergic somehow to Agashian germs if Monaka just turns up and has a cold. Now come on, let's be real here. You know that Toryotaro or Toriyama's at least just thought about that in passing, just to subvert expectations. However, since the Future Trunks saga, the last moment for Monaka was seemingly an additional tidbit plot point done by Toryotaro. Apparently, present Zamasu did use the Super Dragon Balls, but it was fraught with bungling, and One Wish ended up with him taking on Monaka's body, believing it to be stronger than Goku's based on what he'd heard from various parties, and hearsay. In reality, it was a bit unclear whether Zamasu really knew the truth about Beerus's ploy, but let's be honest, would you have wanted it to happen any other way than what you see here? I mean, this is just hilarious. After this, nothing. I can understand why, and nor would I want to shoehorn him back in as his present self anymore. I don't want to see him again. He's served his purpose, and what more can you do with him? He's no longer required since Goku has discovered the likes of Jiren, the Pride Troopers, Frieza again, and then of course, let's not forget, the big boy Broly from the movie of the same name. Monaka's time in the spotlight is over, and he can now go back to working his job as a galactic delivery boy, or simply retire with all of the gold and riches that Whis and Beerus had given him for going along with the whole charade in the first place with Goku. But Monaka, he's a simple Wagashian. He has job, he do job. He seems like a very plain guy with no interests, so why stop doing a job which gives him something to do? I mean, that's fair enough, I guess. With Monaka's place in the story pretty much over, we have to investigate why he was even here, and what might have been had his place in the arcs been handled better. In fact, here is a little tidbit that Haverock showed me in passing when I was talking about this with him. It comes from the early conceptualization of Majin Buu from Toriyama's earlier sketches. As you can see here, these are different concepts for Buu and his most ubiquitous form. You can actually see a couple of these which are quite familiar with a little tweaking, which makes sense since Toriyama does like to recycle stuff that he's already done to save time. Here, this one on the right is Evil Buu. That one at the top could easily just evolve into Prum after having a fling with Clayface. That gnarly one on the bottom becomes Avocado in the Yo Son Goku special. And then this one's face becomes Barbady. And then this one with the black circular torso looks very much like the stance of Monaka, the bodily structure, his pose. Might Monaka's overall concept come from the Buu saga? Possibly. We don't really know for sure, it's conjecture, but the body structure is kind of similar, but it's something that makes us think whether this was a long time coming or not. Now, let's go back to Monaka's original purpose. Let's try and deconstruct this. He was there to act as a ploy to make Goku challenge himself more. Okay. Well, how about we change something within Monaka to make him a little more interesting? Well, why Masako? Well, one big criticism that a lot of people have towards Monaka is that he is basically a carbon copy of Hercule, but only a space version. We have someone already in our character roster who fits the role of an opportunistic fighter or someone pretending to be something that they're not, in a way with Hercule again. So why would we just recycle the whole thing again? We could just use Hercule. So instead of just doing that, we just tweak Monaka a little bit and have him be someone who was strong, but didn't know it. Perhaps his latent power required something to be awoken within him. Some kind of jolt, magic trick, or perhaps a certain punch to the face. Yes, much like how Goku's bump on the head changed him forever, I would have the same thing happen to Monaka. That sudden impact on Goku's part activated something within the Wagashian body, which would then exude a huge amount of power, which was never seen before in living memory, due to the fact that most Wagashian peoples are pretty plain, placid, they don't really get up to much, they don't get out much like Monaka in a way, who was your average run-of-the-mill example of one. However, when thrown in the deep end very much outside their comfort zone, you could have this guy come alive and then realize that Beerus had just stumbled upon an absolute gem of a fighter, which would be a genuine asset for the future. But the trouble is that they don't know it yet. As far as the Catman is concerned, this kid is just a twerp who runs errands for Space Amazon or something. It's only when Goku notices something changing, because, come on, how could he not sense energy from him and then put two and two together? Something has changed, and he only notices it after his fight with Hit, when Monaka realized that he couldn't be pushed to the side anymore, his time had come. Goku was done, so all he could do was observe. We get the fight with Hit, and this time, Monaka, just because out of all of this tension, genuinely knocks Hit out, the mercenary not expecting a strong guy in this weedy form. But those nips of his are not about to be nipped in the bud. The punch that Monaka wields, instead of just Hit pretending to be hurt by it, he is actually hurt by it, and is sent careening out of the ring. But it doesn't stop there. Through many, many land masses does Hit crash through, and he actually circles the small planetoid and then collapses in the ring behind Monaka. Everyone is left stunned, and Goku is left both mesmerized and also disappointed that he couldn't get a bit of that action. Hit seems way more boring now against that. Now, before you say anything, this isn't a what if or anything. I'm not about to go on some kind of 10-part, 20, 30-part epic about Monaka being the next best thing out there since Raditz decided to join the Dragon Team. No. What we are doing here is thinking of a possible way to fix Monaka and make him a truly unique addition to the roster, whilst also not outstay his welcome. Not having him be some kind of clone of what Hercule did back in the day, like he was sort of, and instead change it up a bit, but at the same time maintain the same overall character personality, you know, not changing Monaka beyond recognition. It would also make Beerus look even cooler than he already was in the eyes of Goku. Yes, Beerus could say when witnessing this new power from Monaka. Let that be a lesson to you, Goku. You must never give up, because that one over there will make you eat your words. But at the same time, you couldn't make this guy too powerful or being able to tap into this power all the time from the get-go. That would be too outlandish, too broken, and way too convenient for the plot. This would have to be something that gradually improved over time. Once that power was shown, it was gone again. Nobody just really realized where it disappeared to, and Monaka just thought it was a bad dream or something like that. A similar thing could happen during the next arc, where Monaka returns, and instead of just doing a pratfall tripping over out of the blue and just causing the plot to end, he could have just been so scared that maybe his power was activated when he sensed that people were angry at him breaking the core. This was just a lines of self-defense. Goku could sense this power happening again, realizing this could happen, find him, put him on the spot, saying, "I want to see your power, Monaka! Come on, you can do it!" From there, Copy Vegeta would be up against this scared Monaka, who would then come over all funny and utterly pulverize the Copy Vegeta, where we would see the real Vegeta, who also seemingly believes the same ruse as Goku does, to be truly terrified and grateful that he wasn't subject to Monaka's hidden ire. With him having a trouble getting to grips with this power, this could provide Goku a chance to do stuff with this character, and him being a constant subversion of the trope that you need to look tough, be tough. But he looks nothing like other members of the Dragon Team. It wouldn't be an overnight transformation into something more intimidating either. It would be gradual, and perhaps you could also explore, it might not be something that Monaka actually wants. You could have a really interesting dilemma here that the character needs to undertake and decide upon. Does he choose to embrace this power and want to learn more and become a shining light for Wagashi, his home planet? Or does he decide to just shun the limelight and go back to his old way of life, begging Whis to erase his memory of any of this even happening? I mean, it would be a quite curious and surprising subplot. The reason for me thinking about this is that I think a lot of us got very sick and tired of Monaka and his overall gag. There wasn't much to him, and as a result, he did outstay his welcome, and thusly, once he was gone, he was gratefully forgotten in the eyes of many. Much like Tarbell, he sort of faded away into the background and people would only mention him in passing, never to be actually seen in the flesh again. Not even the likes of Jarko could run into him anymore by accident, and Monaka is all over the place, delivering goods and whatnot. It's not like he hides away or anything. I'm surprised that the manga didn't have us see Monaka being held up by Moro's bandits at one point when he was delivering goods. That would have actually been a very nice and natural cameo, but no. He's sort of just been left to the wayside. I mean, I am okay with that in a way, with the Monaka that we got. He has had his time and served its purpose. We've got Jiren now, and others to fill his boots. It's just a shame that that type of character was just not really made the most of while they were in the show. It could have been fun to see a character this weedy and weird looking to turn out to be the strongest being in the universe, but not willing to use it, or is unable to control it enough to actually be useful. It would be a roller coaster ride for Monaka to become possibly one of the glowing examples of his people. But, due to his general personality, would that be something that he would want? It could be a nice little allegory of people who don't want to be famous or well known to stand out for their talent. They are mostly content with their lot in life and are keen to keep things simple and within their comfort zone. Having that internal struggle with a Dragon Ball character could be actually really relatable to some folks out there. Of course, this is just my idea and thought process, but you never know what could come around in the future. So what do you guys think? Does this idea seem plausible to you? Would you have wanted to see this happen in the first place? Could this still happen naturally? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later.